Thing. So just a little general housekeeping. Please keep your devices on mute. The mute button is on the bottom left corner of your screen. Eric will be taking questions throughout the presentation, so please be interactive. Feel free to put anything in the chat if you have questions, but we'll also be doing a little Q&A at the end. And we will also be posting this video to our website and sending the post viewing survey afterwards with certificates. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and kick it off to our director of the NCCA, Ms. Cindy Leinhoff, to do the introductions.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I know it's a really busy time of year. A lot of schools are getting out in the South, and no doubt somebody's having their last day of school today. It may have interrupted some from joining, but we know we are also recording. So everyone that didn't get on will get that opportunity that registered. I'm not really sure why, but it's telling me that I can't start my video because the person on the other end isn't allowing it. So I'm good with that, but that's why you don't see my face. And I don't know if it bothers you, but it doesn't bother me. So let's just get started. Eric is a great friend, and TOOTRiS is a great friend to the NCCA. They're doing many wonderful things for childcare throughout the nation. So we're pleased to have Eric back to talk to us more about that and to talk to you all about what it is that TOOTRiS can do to help you as a provider and to help some of your families. Eric Cutler is the co-founder and chief of TOOTRiS. He has 20 years or over 20 years of experience in business and consumer markets with a focus in technology and digital marketing. Eric co-founded TOOTRiS after his own life experiences as a father, balancing family and work, and as a manager who had employees quit when they couldn't find affordable or available childcare. Sound familiar? It certainly does. Childcare is deeply personal for him, as without the opportunity childcare provided his single mom so that she could stay employed, he feels that he wouldn't be here today. So you can see why Eric is a friend of NCCA and childcare. So without further ado, Eric, take it away.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, everybody here for joining us on this beautiful Wednesday. My name is Eric Cutler, and I'm going to be your guide today. I do have two monitors here, so I've got the chat box up, and I know Storm and team are going to keep me honest here. So if there is a question or comment during the presentation, happy to address. I don't want it to be just a monologue here. Hopefully there's a little something for everybody. I've been in maybe not in the childcare space as long as you from the inside, but I certainly have seen all sorts of ways programs manage their business across the nation. And as Cindy mentioned before, our company approaches that from an interesting perspective, from the employer perspective. So that's, I think, really important to get employers involved. And I'll talk a little bit about that. Hopefully this has a little something for everybody here. So maybe some of this is already information you know, but I promise there's going to be some helpful tools and guidance here that you can apply to your own practice and organization. As you heard here, there's my daughter. I am also really good at bouncy castles, so I'm free to, you can hire me for that. I work at an organization called TOOTRiS. Here's some screenshots here. We essentially partner with providers at no cost at all to providers to give them essentially more enrollments from the employers that work with us. Employers are right now really struggling to maintain their workforce. I talk to employers of all shapes and sizes, from manufacturing to retail to food and beverage to corporate America, and they're all having the same challenge. Parents need childcare, and they need it in all different types of flavors. And employers that partner with us contribute towards the cost of childcare for the employees, I should say, because we don't want to make childcare cheaper. And I answer that question right away. Oh, you're going to make childcare cheaper for us? Nope. In fact, childcare providers should be paid more, in my humble opinion. But what you can do, Mr. or Mrs. Employer, is offer to share some of that cost of childcare burden, so the childcare providers get their fair wage, get the money that they so deserve. You have a happy employee that is, able to, take care of their family life, and they'll be, of course, a loyal team member at your organization. So that's kind of what we do here in a nutshell. This is now a 54-minute presentation. Please feel free to use the questions in the chat here, but you can also email me, pretty easy, Eric with a C at TOOTRiS.com. So one of the things I really want to talk about, the serious stuff here, is what I'm seeing at an employer level. So we are dealing with a whole new normal over the past 20, 24 months here. We now see a big shift coming up in the corporate America side. There was always a big, well, we could never have remote employees. Everyone has to be in the office. We can't function with any department working remote. Well, it took a pandemic to make a lot of companies realize, oh, I guess we can have some departments remote. Some organizations have completely shuttered their headquarters, and they are 100% virtual. And not just little accounting firms or something like that. Giant publicly traded organizations are falling into that. And so I'm going to share with you all, since you are kind of on the connected at the hip with parents who are ultimately employed, what I actually see happening. So 80% of organizations have changed their remote work policy. If you think about that, 99% of the business community out there are businesses with 500 or less employees. These are organizations that you probably use today, whether they be banks, local credit unions, a printer company, and an accounting firm, all sorts of different organizations you may or may not be aware. They already have hybrid work environments, and that includes hybrid work family environments. That means that families now are, instead of going to a place full time, those parent schedules are changing, and we see 60% are doing part-time, full-time, or kind of a mix of both there. So that's something that is really important for you to understand. It's going to continue to happen. So we have more and more parents shifting to hybrid or fully remote environments because we have more employers that are willing to do so. And if you can imagine, a California salary going to someone in North Dakota, where the cost of living might be a little more conducive of a nice life, you now have employers having employees that are willing to do that, which means families are moving, which means ultimately you should expect to see, if you're not already seeing it today, parents that are looking for you to help adapt to their schedule. They're looking to see if you will support drop-ins, as an example. They're looking to see if you will support more of a part-time schedule. You might be fully adamant on only full-time only, or maybe part-times up to a certain amount of time. They may be looking for a little leniency. So as you're creating your schedules here for the end of the year and next year, be cognizant of the fact that you're going to see parents that are adjusting their schedules because their employers are adjusting their schedule, either optionally or mandatorily. So this is really what we're seeing today all across the US here. This means that from a family perspective, we see employers being told this by all the kind of local trade publications. This is the Harvard Business Review, one of the most respected media outlets there. You can read the headline, "Childcare is a business issue, not just a family issue." And really the highlight of this article, which I highly recommend reading, is that parents need help. All over a quarter of parents became unemployed in 2021 due to childcare issues alone, which is a significant number. And this joins many wake-up call articles and media driven towards employers talking about your customers and clients, parents and families. So they're saying, hey, this is a big issue, big challenge. You, Mr. Business or Mrs. Business Owner, need to get involved and help. Why should they do it? What are employers getting from this? When you adjust your schedule, and therefore those employees now have more more hybrid opportunities in your family or in-home or center-based childcare program, They're more productive at work. They're absent less. Absenteeism, the number one cause of absenteeism for working parents is childcare challenges. And having that pro-parent environment attracts more new employees to the organization. So we see this with employers time and time again, and we have this conversation. So from what's happening outside of your childcare center, these are the conversations that businesses are having, and this is why they're putting, as this cute little one is doing, putting money towards the cost of families that will pay for part of the enrollment into your center. So really, really kind of important there. What is in it for you, the provider? And yes, I will have the power. I see your comment there, Storm. As a side note, we will make sure that everyone has a copy and a takeaway here of all the information we're providing. What is it for you as a provider to adjust your schedule? Well, first and foremost, the biggest shift we're seeing is employers are willing to pay for the childcare that their employees are using. This was traditionally something just the Fortune 500, the big companies that you can kind of think of out there were doing, but we now see the rest of business America shifting to that. I see employers with 100 employees or 50 employees contributing towards the cost of their employees' childcare. Every penny helps if you're a parent, and ensuring that you, the provider, get 100% of what you're asking for from enrollment. It's a win-win-win for everybody. And so we see more of these happening, which in turn means as an employer-sponsored parent enrolls into your center, they're going to share how much they love your program with other parents in that location, which means they're going to come to you. And oh, by the way, this no negotiating here. Some providers I've learned over the course of my life here with TOOTRiS sometimes negotiate. You have a parent in need, a single parent, you may be willing to flex on your enrollment cost. Well, when half of that enrollment fee is getting paid for by their employer, you're going to probably not have to get into that discussion. So again, really a win-win-win for everybody. Really excited. I'm so excited to see that this is a shift that corporate America is realizing. Childcare is expensive, but we don't want to make it cheaper. We want to make it more affordable. How do we do that? We supplement the cost of childcare. Here's what employers are doing. I have this. This is actually a slide that I talk about with them. What can you do? Well, you can do nothing, but that's pretty stupid in my humble opinion. You can build out an on-site childcare, but on-site childcare has a slew of challenges. You're not in the childcare business. What are you doing? Why would you ever get in there? It's not going to help all of your employees. There are a couple of different things you can do. You can sign up with a childcare program out there. There's some large institutions that have multi-state support. You can offer a flexible spending account, but providing reimbursements, providing cost sharing, that's the big needle mover from an employer perspective. And I'm going to get to the fun stuff of my presentation in a second, but this is what employers are talking about, and this is where you're going to start seeing more employer-sponsored childcare programs. If you aren't already, you may already have families that are enrolled into your childcare center that are paying you through monies that they're getting reimbursed for from their employer. So more of this stuff to come. We're working with the NCCA and other organizations that are passionate about the childcare space to make sure that more businesses are aware that this is something that they should be doing, so we can make childcare more affordable for the families and parents out there. From an IRS perspective, as a small note here, employers do receive a stipend, or a tax credit back of up to $150,000 a year to do this. So they're financially incentivized to cover the cost of your enrollment fees from the IRS's perspective. Okay, well, now that I got kind of the serious stuff out of the way, we'll go ahead and jump into a lot of the kind of interesting ways to help increase enrollments and kind of optimize your program here that I've seen that can help move the needle here from your program's perspective. We'll start with, what are we going to start here? We're going to start with some awareness. This is something that is really easy to do if you're struggling with filling some of your enrollments or just want to get more of your brand out there. Here are some really easy 5 easy ways to do that. And we'll start with the first one here. You probably already have done this. Having a name and tagline that is up to date and key is something that I definitely recommend doing. If you haven't already done this, what's really cool about this is it puts your names in lights. This logo could get a little improvement here. And to do this isn't something that you need to be a graphic design major to do. There are sites like 99designs.com, $150, $100. They are freelance sources where you can have somebody, if your logo, if you look at it, and your logo looks a little too pastel, looks a little 1990s, and you want to have a kind of a fresher logo for the Gen Ys, the Gen Zs, you need a revamp. I highly recommend, as a one-time expense for you to do. There is some tax deductible eligibilities here, not a big cost. You can use a service like 99designs.com to have that new forever logo, that new revamp of your logo, and make sure it represents the colors and friendliness and personality that your childcare program offers, and looks up to par with the other kind of programs out there. Definitely, if you haven't already done this, I would put that on your list of things to do. Really easy to do, and you don't need to be a Photoshop genius to do so. Here are some kind of cool examples that I thought, and I found all of these. These are all designed within about $100 to $200. Great little logos here. I highly recommend you doing that if you haven't already done it. Content. So content. Content is a great way if you've got a website and or you have takeaways inside your childcare program. You can actually have content either yourself that you've written or content that you hire somebody, spending $50 or $100 on sites like Upwork or Fiverr with 2 R's. You can actually give out content that lasts forever. You only have to do it once. Things like how to potty train, a child are for what I like to call evergreen content. If you put it on your website, it's a great way for people to find your site and find your program. And most of the time, it can be really easy to generate. This is something that you can do on your own, or you can pay a very minimal amount of money for a freelancer on one of these sites. There's a number of other sites out there to do that and put it online. And I'll give you a great example here. I looked up how to potty train a toddler for daycare. It's a very common term out there. And I found Bright Morning Star Daycare. I believe they're in Texas. And they were one of the top results. They're a little tiny program out there in the world. And yet they wrote a nice little article, and it was in the top of the Google results because it was a genuinely helpful article. And this is something they could have wrote it last month or 20 years ago. And this doesn't really change how to potty train too much. This is really helpful information to get your brand out there, to get your program out there, to have parents and families find you. Not to mention, it's pretty helpful here. You can type this out yourself, or hire someone to do this for you. Print out a couple copies and leave it in your program. Nice little takeaways. You have your logo information on there, and they're taking a little piece away from you here. Highly recommend having good content out there. Social media is a good place to get brand awareness for your center. We all know the short list here: Instagram, Facebook, Nextdoor. I see a lot of childcare programs getting into Nextdoor. Nextdoor is a very localized way to advertise your program and be part of the community. That's a great way to do, most of these programs do hashtags. Don't forget to do hashtag NCCA and hashtag NECPA. Families, people having kids right now, they're millennials, Gen Ys, Gen Zs. For better, for worse, they've got their phone right in front of them the whole time, and they're on social media networks. Less likely on a Facebook, more likely on an Instagram, more likely on a Nextdoor. This is a way you can link your website, link your social media. No cost to do so. Remember though, of course, if you are posting on there, have children's parents' permission in order to post them. And of course, always be respectful online. There's a lot of ugly places of social media, but this is a great place to get your brand out there at very little cost. I recommend the top 3: Facebook, Instagram, and Nextdoor. Nextdoor is a great one. Also, in Pinterest, Twitter, and YouTube requires a little more work, but these are pretty easy for most programs to do. My second section here, we're going to talk about asking, and I'm going to use, oh shoot, Storm, let me reshare again here because I didn't do audio here. Man, let me try this again. We're going to share a little clip from Steve Jobs here, and I'm going to talk about why I'm sharing this specific one here.
True, which is most people don't get those experiences because they never ask. I've never found anybody that didn't want to help me if I asked them for help. I always call them up. I called up, this will date me, but I called up Bill Hewlett when I was 12 years old, and he lived in Palo Alto. His number was still in the phone book. And he answered the phone himself. He said, yes? He said, hi, I'm Steve Jobs.
Bill Hewlett, it was the president and CEO of Hewlett Packard, one of the largest technology companies in the world. So this is a 12-year-old Steve Jobs calling up the CEO using the white pages at the time.
12 years old. I'm a student in high school, and I want to build a frequency counter. And I was wondering if you had any spare parts I could have. And he laughed, and he gave me the spare parts to build this frequency counter, and he gave me a job that summer in Hewlett Packard, working on the assembly line, putting nuts and bolts together on frequency counters. He got me a job in the place that built them. And I was in heaven. And I've never found anyone who said no or hung up the phone when I called. I just asked. And when people ask me, I try to be as responsive, to pay that debt of gratitude back. Most people never pick up the phone and call. Most people never ask. And that's what separates sometimes the people that do things from the people that just dream about them. You gotta act. And you've got to be willing to fail. You've got to be willing to crash and burn, with people on the phone, with starting a company, with whatever. If you're afraid of failing, you won't get very far. True, which is.
So why am I bringing that clip up? Parent testimonials. Parent testimonials, a testimonial from a parent is basically gold. It can be a great way for you to use that to win the trust of other potential families in the future. It lasts forever. Testimonials are awkward to ask for. A review of your program. How are we doing? A testimonial can seem weird to ask somebody. You have a parent that comes and picks up, little Eric Jr. every day at 5 o'clock. You've seen this person, you know where they work, their favorite food, they got a new haircut. But for some reason asking, hey, can you give me a testimonial? Can you review the program? May seem awkward to you. And you just have never thought of actually doing it. Getting testimonials is great. You can use these testimonials. Here's a couple here. It takes a village to raise kids for working. I took these and I just cleaned up the name. These are real testimonials I found. I'm so grateful for the wonderful ladies at ABC Daycare. Let me just say we are so lucky to have found ABC Daycare. These ladies have been a true blessing. If you're on the fence, please reach out. I promise you will not regret it. When were these reviews written? Last week, last year, last decade? Doesn't matter. As a parent, I know these are real. I don't need to know these parents to know these are real because they sound like real parents. And these are gold for you. So I highly recommend, as part of your brand awareness strategy, to garner reviews. You can ask for them over email. You can ask for them over text. You can get them written down on a little clipboard and transcribe them later. You can use these reviews. Potential customers trust family 93% of the time. They trust reviewers 91% of the time. So when you get a parent reviewing your program, you can put it on your website. You can put it on your social media. Barbara just noted in chat, she does parent surveys. Surveys are a great way. There are free services out there like surveymonkey.com and other ways to do that. Getting parent testimonials is key. You can don't feel awkward. I'm a parent. I love childcare providers. I will do anything you ask me. You need some coffee? I'll go get you some coffee. You need me to write a review on Yelp for you or on your Google page or just on a piece of paper or reply to an email? I will 100% do that for you. please don't kick me out of your childcare program. I need it. That's how parents feel. And this is a great way to do it. So make sure, if you're not already doing this, garner these reviews. So critical, so critical. And you can use them all sorts of different places. Having a website is definitely key. Really easy to do. There's no shortage of places out there. You can have it does cost a little bit of money, can be 10, 20 bucks a month. Sometimes you can you can buy a annual fee to have it at like a GoDaddy or WordPress or Squarespace. We also, TOOTRiS also has web profiles that you can have if you don't already have a website, no cost to doing that. Either one, parents are online. Millennials, Gen Ys, Gen Zs, they're online. So make sure you're online too. Can't get away anymore just by having a phone number and an email address. You need to have some sort of web presence. A little technical here, but having a domain name, you can go to GoDaddy and buy, Eric's childcareprogram.com. And even if you only have a TOOTRiS page or a Facebook page or something, you can just have GoDaddy. They kind of redirect the user from that name there, but you can then give that name out. So you can put it on a flyer. You can say, go to, Eric's childcareprogram.com, and it'll take you to the Facebook page or the TOOTRiS page or wherever it is. That's a really good way to get your name out there and help you with that. There's some other technical stuff here. We won't go into it in lieu of time, but I will make sure everyone does receive that. And good to see you, Regina, asking parents for testimonials. I can't say that most businesses don't do this, and you've got clients, you've got families that depend on you every day. They will do this, I promise you. All right, so let's get into our next section here, more enrollments. So we're going to talk about just a couple different ways to increase enrollments to your program. And I'm going to start here by something that is kind of interesting. Many providers I've talked to don't track the inquiries from parents and families. So you may have a wait list right now. Your program might be full. Maybe you have openings, but maybe they're only part-time kind of slots there. So you may get inquiries that you can immediately fulfill. Maybe they're asking for something that you don't do today. Maybe it's for an infant, and while you have openings, you don't have infant openings at this time. Capture that information. Make sure, even if it's even if it's on a piece of paper, preferably in some sort of Google Docs, offers free spreadsheets. You just have to sign up for a Google account, and you can use their free Sheets service to track all this information, what they were looking for, name, first name, last name, phone number. Even if your schedule is full, really key to grab this information. This is, you don't want to get lost in this, because this information becomes your lead list. So when you do have an opening, when you do have something to talk about, when you do have something to share, you can actually now have a list to reflect on. And this may surprise the ones that are already doing this, but I've seen many centers and in-home programs not offer and not have an ability internally to capture this information. Someone calls you and you say you're full, take the extra 7 seconds to note down their phone number, and if possible, grab an email address and a first name and let them know that, if they left a voicemail and it's a slot that's full, give them a courtesy call back, but grab their information here. You never know when that could be really useful. There are free tools out there, such as MailChimp, that's how it sounds, MailChimp.com, where you can add up to 2,000 contacts completely for free and email them on a monthly basis. Let them know, hey, we have a new summer program coming up. This could be a great way to increase your enrollments. And at worst case, have that list so when you do have a sudden opening, you don't have to, do word of mouth. You don't have to get on social media and advertise. You now have that short list. 45% of providers out there don't actually follow up with an enrollment inquiry. So this is a nationwide stat. So I highly recommend, ensuring, even if you don't do it right then and there, Most people that call you and you have a phone number, they're going to have they're going to probably be calling you from their cell phone. And this is, you can send them a quick SMS later on. We have a wait list, but I'll happily put you down on that, or whatever that response is almost half of all childcare programs aren't responding to their enrollment inquiries. So being responsive is great. It not only says, tells that parent, yes or no, or answers that question, but it also lets them know, because I'm a parent, I know other parents. So I'm going to share my experiences with childcare providers if I get asked. And if I have one, I reach out to them. They didn't have any infant slots, but maybe they have a slot for your, toddler. I'm going to probably be more likely to share that information with one that was communicated to me. So it just is a nice courtesy out there, but about half of programs out there aren't actually doing that. When you do that, great time to notate that information. This costs you nothing and could have great returns on your investment of time here. Getting more enrollment partners. So how do you get an enrollment partners here? There are referral services out there. There are marketplaces like TOOTRiS here. This is a great way to have fresh and new enrollments heading in your direction. My personal favorite is the proximity referral network. These are the businesses that are near and dear to your location here. So I picked where my current childcare program, I've actually moved on since I've moved down south here, but I was using Central Montessori School here. And I noted, just on a quick cursory look, how many local businesses are within walking distance. So this is the parking lot. I usually parked right there. I can see here that there's over a dozen locations that are prime for families and employees working there. So have you ever taken the time, during the lunch break or break, I know breaks are few and far between for us, but if there is a time, or even on a Saturday, to drop in to each of these locations, drop off a handmade flyer, or even a note, or even a word of mouth. Hey, I didn't know if you noticed, but we are a program right down the street. If you have employees that are looking for childcare, have them come by. I see a lot of here. I see, Wells Fargo Bank, a couple banks here. Running with Scissors. This is a great name for a children's salon. There's all sorts of different folks out here, which would be great referral partners for me. They're incentivized to tell their staff, if I see the manager or owner there, they want their staff to show up. And when do working parents not show up for work? When they don't have a childcare option. And wouldn't it be nice if I worked at Mission Federal Credit Union and I could drop off my little one here 2 doors down? So having your proximity network here, a great way to get free parent referrals, and they're going to love you because you're so convenient to them. So take a look at your Google Maps when you have a second. What businesses can you walk to? And if you haven't done that already, that's a great way to create that instant network. Referrals, going back to kind of the asking, as Steve Jobs was saying, most people don't ask. Not only asking for testimonials like Barbara's doing with her parent surveys and getting testimonials that way, referrals from parents are another great way to get new enrollments in. So having a very easy handout, you can have someone design it, a freelancer, for $25 or $50, or just do it yourself. Canva, CANVA.com. That's a free design tool that you can use. You can create a quick handout that says, just call this number, visit this website, ask us if you have a need for childcare, and then hand this information to parents. As parents are walking out, again, you can ask your parents and families that are using your program to do anything. They will do backflips over you, as I will from my childcare provider. And so these are great marketing tools for you. So as a provider or as a parent is leaving your program for the day, hand that little referral handout to them. Hey, if you know anybody that would love to enroll in this program, you obviously do. Please share the word. We have 2 openings here. Great way to fill that out. And 99% of the time, you don't even need to incentivize your parents. They want you to stay in business. So these are a great way to get free referrals into your program. And finally here, we're going to talk about some cheap web tricks. So these are our, so I love this photo. These are some cheap and easy web tricks that you can do to improve your operations efficiency here. First, let's be real straightforward here. There is a lot of malicious characters out here and people that try to gain access to your bank account. Have you ever gotten a fake call from the IRS? It's not really the IRS. They want your social security number. Man, I've been getting hammered with them on my phone over the last few months. A lot of different prank calls. You see maybe fake emails that come in your inbox that it's coming from Bank of America or something like that. These are targeting business owners, and don't think that they're just targeting the big companies, the Verizons and the AT&Ts out there. They're targeting us small business owners. They're targeting childcare programs out there because the barrier of entry is going to be low. A business in America gets hacked every 11 seconds. And imagine you're processing payments every day with your parents. Imagine if you couldn't access your bank account. Imagine if you couldn't access your payroll, right? Imagine if that system was locked out and you didn't have anywhere to turn. I know it's a very serious turn for my presentation, but I want to really kind of grab your attention here. This is all really preventable. Any bank system you use today, most software applications support what's called multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication. You're probably already doing this. That seems complicated. You're already doing this today. Have you ever got a text message from Facebook when you're trying to log in and it says, I don't recognize you, I'm going to send you a number? Maybe you're logging into your bank account and it says, we're going to ask, we're going to send you a code, and you type it in. Everybody's had to deal with this at one point or another. That's called a second mode of authentication. Log into your bank account, write this down, MFA or 2FA. 99.9% of all of the business hacks out there, that's almost 100%, could be stopped by having this security. I don't want you dead in the water from being able to process payments, from being able to process payroll, from being able to process enrollments. Don't get stuck. Don't get locked out. Every modern system pretty much out there supports multi-factor authentication. Doesn't cost you anything to do. They don't want to deal with you hacked any more than you want to deal with you being hacked. Gmail supports it. Yahoo supports it. Outlook supports it. Log into your account, any account you used online, go into your settings and set up multi-factor authentication. All it'll do is send you a little text message, from time to time when you log in. I just did this for my entire family because we had a hacking scare. So make sure you do this. Free to do, pays off dividends as opposed to being hacked. Okay, now taking off my serious security cap here. Free or nearly free tricks from Google's perspective. Everyone uses Google, and they use Google to find you. They use Google to find in a restaurant. They use Google to use Google Maps. Have you taken the time to add your business to Google Maps? Completely free to do so. If you go to google.com/business, you can then not only add yourself to Google Maps, but add yourself on the side of Google results. So this is a great way to, show up at the top of the listings when someone types your care program's name. It's completely free. I said free tricks, and something, if you haven't already done so, do it. If you've already done so, take a look. Go to Google Maps, look up your location, see if you have a little profile there, see what it looks like. Maybe it doesn't say the right thing. Maybe it has an old picture. You can customize it with little pictures. You can put your website in there. You can put your social media. Definitely take the time to do that. Or if someone did it a few years ago, go check it out. Make sure it's still legit and says what you want it to say. Apple also has the same thing. Most of you have an iPhone. You use probably Apple Maps on your phone. If you go to mapsconnect.apple.com, and we'll send this out, or Storm here will put it into chat, you can add your business on there completely for free. And then you'll have a little profile on there when someone looks on Maps, which is good. Most parents like to look in the vicinity of where they live for what's out there from a childcare program perspective. Why wouldn't you do this? It's completely free, puts you on the map here. You might be surprised to learn that people are still using MapQuest, and they also use Bing Places. This is Microsoft's Explorer and Microsoft Edge. These are also two other places you can put your business on there, again, completely for free for childcare providers. And if you are inclined, a little more on the technical side, you can install analytics software to monitor how many visitors you get on your website. This is all completely for free by going to analytics.google.com. You may need a little bit of help getting it on your website, but nice to see the visitors going to your site. A little easier if you go to, and Storm definitely put this link in here. I'm not even going to try to say it out here. Google AdWords, which are the free ads that go on top of search results. If you sign up, they'll actually give you $150 of ad credits for free. Just make sure to end that before your 150 runs out so it doesn't start charging you. But this is a great way to, let's say if you're in, Steubenville, Ohio, you can buy Steubenville, Ohio childcare and Steubenville, Ohio daycare, and you'll be at the top just in that little area here. You may want to get a little help from a friend or a colleague to kind of set this up, but Google will give you $150 completely for free if you'd like to do that. Thank you, Storm. I mentioned this before, social media. You might be surprised to learn that you can actually create your account on social media here, all completely for free. You can create little business pages on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Nextdoor. Nextdoor, I've seen a lot of parents on Nextdoor. Nextdoor can be a little bit of a dumpster fire sometimes. If for anybody that's on Nextdoor, you will instantly know what I'm talking about. But it is also a place where people also learn about businesses in and around their neighborhood. You can create your business account, meaning your childcare program account, for free in any of these services here. You can do it on Yelp too. I just warn everyone here, they will have your phone number and those reps will call you. So you don't have to answer the phone, but they're going to want to get you because they have a whole paid service. And I personally, I don't see a fit for that. But it is, people do use Yelp. So you do want to have your business on there. You can also create business pages on Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Just depends how much your time allows. I would definitely recommend you do this for sure. One of my I'm kind of closing up my slides here. This is another one. This is really technical information, but in the kind of short and sweet of it is here, the way Google shows results when you type in a search term, you type in Italian restaurants and you see different Italian restaurants there. Why does Google show these ones versus the ones on page 2 and page 3 where no one goes? It's all about search engine optimization. And if you do have a website, again, we're going to send out a copy of these slides out to you so you can review and compare and maybe give to your daughter-in-law or your son or whoever is in charge of the kind of technical stuff if that's not you. But this is information that you can do to enhance your program's website to make sure it shows up at the top of the search results where parents are looking. Google looks for backlinks. So again, this is getting a little technical here, but if you're part of the Better Business Bureau, if you're part of the Chamber of Commerce, which I highly recommend doing, if you're part of your landlord's website, that is kind of a directory of all the businesses in your maybe your building or your area, make sure there's a link back to your website. The more links that Google sees going to your website, the higher in ranking you'll get in search results. So you always want to make sure if you've got another place out there that's talking about you, that's talking about your program, if you have a website, make sure that they're linking to your website. The more links, the better. The more on-page optimization of your website, the better. So take a look at this or give it to someone that can kind of help you out here. Highly recommended. Gen Ys, Gen Zs, they're going to use search engines. They're going to use those kind of tools to find you. So make sure you're in those map programs. Make sure you have an optimized website. And another big thing here is improving your engagements with parents. There is mobile communication. Parents love texting. You probably have already noticed this, especially Gen Ys, Gen Zs, millennials. They're used to texting, so being able to support texting, being able to do automated payments, tours, all this is something TOOTRiS can do on your behalf completely for free. If you've got a program that you're already using, there's a number of different childcare software programs out there. Make sure you've enabled this functionality, because this is something that parents are going to expect. They want to be able to do an automatic payment through an ACH or a credit card. They want to be able to do automated check-ins. They want to be able to do text message updates. So if you're using a software program that has these features, awesome. Make sure you use them. If you need help doing that, this is something that TOOTRiS can provide to you. And finally, that's it there. As my daughter would say, that's it, Dad. All right. That is my end of my presentation there. My email address is Eric, ERIC, @tootris.com. I'll make sure that the NCCA team here gets a copy of this presentation so we can send it out to you and you'll have a copy of this. And if you're new to this organization, please consider joining. They've got great accreditation. They're a great group of folks. It's nice to have advocates out there on your behalf. So I highly, highly, highly recommend joining here, and we got a great team.
Thank you so much, Eric. We really appreciate your time today. It was a phenomenal presentation full of lots of information and resources. I hope you all enjoyed it as well. If we have time right now, we'd like to answer any questions. If any of you folks have questions for Eric or for NCCA, please feel free to raise your hand or drop a question in the chat.
I think Storm there was a question about receiving a certificate.
Gotcha. Yep, we will be sending out those certificates either at the end of today or earlier tomorrow or next week as well. But we will make sure we get that presentation out to you. And if you have any questions about TOOTRiS or any slides, please let us know. All right. Cindy, do you have any? Oh, yeah.
Yes, I would just like to thank Eric again for spending time with us today. Again, I know he's been really busy trying to reach out to employers and opportunities to help get children into childcare centers. And that, of course, helps all of you. I would suggest that you take him up on his offer I think it is to sign up for some kind of evaluation. Right? Did I get that right, Eric?
Yes, that's correct. So in the email that we send out with a copy of this presentation, so you have all the slides here, we'll include a link to that as well as my contact information. Always happy to help. And I think we should also, I saw that we have some non-members on this call, so we should also include a link to learn more about joining.
Absolutely.
And I see one of the questions is, can you help with getting staff information? And I have shared with Eric and his team, the challenges that, we are having, and he is aware of that. And I think that him and his team are committed to thinking about what that might look like. At some point, it's a big battle that we're all facing. But one of the things I would remind everybody on this call, and I would ask every one of you to talk to your fellow providers out there and educators, that the thing that we need to do as an industry is we need to not let our senators sleep. Our senators have been sitting on a bill to help child care. And while that bill is definitely not going to be the one to go through, Build Back Better, they now have an opportunity to pass another bill that would put $72 billion into childcare, and about 18 billion of that is earmarked to actually making more childcare centers, especially available to children in deserts, childcare deserts, and also to help with compensation of teachers. So that's where we can help ourselves. Make that call. Talk to your US Senator's office and make sure they know what you expect, that you want them to vote for Senator Murray's and Senator Kaiser's childcare bill.
Thank you so much, Cindy. Advocacy is at the core of what we do here at NCCA. So it's definitely very much important for all of us to, get out there and make that known. So thank you so much for all of your attendance today and for your questions and your concerns. We will be getting those certificates out to you along with all the goodies that Eric had mentioned in his presentation. And we look out for the next one. Thank you all so much. We'll give you back the next few minutes of the day.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.